Believe it or not, we've passed halftime of the regular season. So this week we'll break down the NFL Week 10 main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel as we prepare full cash lineups on both sites, and it's coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the fantasy football consultants. How you doing, Eric?
Oh, good, Michael. I tell you, this season has gone by so quickly. And I got to say, a little disappointing for our teams, but I guarantee you the Seahawks and Raiders will not lose this week in week 10. Yeah, they have a bye. All right.
Hey, Eric, we've got five common players. We always like to find those if we can, but it's not always possible. But we've got five this week, Eric, on FanDuel and DraftKings that are in both. Why don't you get us started?
Well, I have a tailor-made pick at 7,500 on DraftKings and 8,600 on FanDuel. It's Jonathan Taylor. He's playing at home in a dome. Admittedly, not the best matchup, playing an average Buffalo defense with a below average 21 implied total. But two keys. First of all, he is a bell cow back with touches over the last 4 weeks of 16, 21, 24, and 24. And the second thing, he benefits as his quarterback is now Joe Flacco. First of all, Flacco can move this offense better than Anthony Richardson, and Flacco's not going to vulture one of those touchdown carries around the end zone away from Taylor.
I like to match that with somebody who's very similar in terms of the lion's share of carries. It's Aaron Jones. He's 67 on DraftKings and 7,900 on FanDuel at Jacksonville, who's 28th against running backs this season. Heavy favorite, which is what we always like with running backs. 25.5 implied total for the Vikings. And he's averaging almost 19 touches a game, 100 yards a game, and three passes a game. He hasn't been getting in the end zone as much as we'd like to see, which is something that would certainly bump up his value. But those averages are even with a couple of really bad games on his slate. And guess what? This week shouldn't be a bad game because of the matchup. So I like to get Aaron Jones slotted next to Jonathan Taylor.
All right. And supplementing those guys at the receiver position is Calvin Ridley at a very cheap $5,700 on DraftKings and $5,800 on FanDuel, playing at the LA Chargers. Riddle me this, folks. What's the most important thing for a wide receiver? It's opportunities, and in their case, targets. In the last 4 games, Ridley has averaged 10 targets a game. That's insane for a guy who's sub $6,000 price. He's simply the focal point of this Titan passing offense, especially now that DeAndre Hopkins is in Kansas City.
Well, speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, that's who I've got next. Thanks for that segue. He's only 5,300 on DraftKings and 6,000 on FanDuel. They didn't get a chance to see what happened on Monday night. Patrick Mahomes has his new favorite toy. Maybe not quite like Tyreek from the day. He doesn't have the speed, but he's a possession receiver. He's going up against a Denver defense that's actually 27th against the pass. They've been a strong defense, but not necessarily against the pass. Gosh, what a move of scenery can do for someone like DeAndre Hopkins. Always been a great possession receiver. Implied total here for him for Kansas City's 24.5. He might draw a Surtain, but I'm not sure that he will with Kelsey and the speed of Worthy. And so I really like this price that we can get on DeAndre Hopkins.
I love it, Michael. Taking advantage of that Monday night game, you know more information than the folks that took the spread or the salary. You know what? I'll do the same thing at tight end. Cade Otton at 5,500 on DraftKings and 6,400 on FanDuel. He had yet another huge game, taking advantage of the fact that the Tampa Bay offensive pass weapons have disappeared. The number 1 wide receiver and red zone hog, Mike Evans, has been out and will be out again this week. Their number 2 wide receiver, Chris Godwin, is out for the year. And number 3 wide receiver, Jalen McMillan, may be out. He was out last week for this upcoming game. So what has happened in these last 3 weeks with these other stars out? All Cade Otton has done is average more than 8 receptions a game, more than 10 targets a game, 86 passing yards, and average a TD a game. He is a premier tight end in this offense without the premier price.
That's right. So, Eric, this is sounding pretty good to me. Before we go off and see what we're going to do for the rest of the lineups, just a friendly reminder to smash that like button, to comment in the comment sections. We want to hear from you. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, we'd love to have you be a subscriber.
All righty, let's go into DraftKings and fill out the rest of our lineup. And after we do that, we'll move to FanDuel.
Okay, Eric, here we are on DraftKings. We've got 19,300 available, so just under 5,000 a player. So we'll have to spend it wisely. Can you do that for us? I'm going to let you go ahead and start.
All right, well, just watch as I scroll down. You know, the neat thing about Hopkins and Ridley is they are number one wide receivers on their team at bargain prices. I'm going to get it arguably at a number one wide receiver on his team at a ridiculously low price at $4,100. It's the veteran wide receiver Sterling Shepard on the aforementioned Tampa Bay offense, which has all those injuries. I just said them. You know, Evans is out, Godwin is out, and McMillan may be out. If McMillan is out, he is going to be the number one wide receiver for this game. Happy to get him in. I really like that they even got him 2 rush attempts last week, just trying to make it get the ball in his hands in a situation. I think that Tampa Bay is going to be it's going to be interesting in this San Francisco game with McCaffrey back. I think it's going to be a little high scoring.
Yeah, no, agree. Definitely a good possession receiver. I think he benefits significantly from some of those injuries that you already mentioned. Okay, so at the quarterback position, we also have to save some money. I'm going to try and spend no more than $5,200 and get a quarterback who's starting to heat up a little bit. Going up against the Tennessee Titans, it's Justin Herbert. They, from a pass perspective, have been 31st against the pass. So Justin Herbert has found a new toy in Ladd McConkey, who he's got a nice little rapport with. He's starting to finally put up some fantasy points. Nice high floor at this $5,200 salary. Hey, Justin Herbert's a talent. He really has been underutilized. Yes, that's something that you get under Jim Harbaugh, as somebody who loves to pound the run. But Herbert's been taking advantage of that much better in play action this year, and it's been rewarding him in fantasy points of late.
Yes, and he got back last week a major weapon in Quentin Johnson, and so I like this pick. I can't believe he's this cheap on DraftKings. All right, because you went so cheap, and I am not going to let you spend much on defense. I am going to get a quality, if you allow me a hall pass to go just nuts at flex in the flex position. Yes, it is Breece Hall from the New York Jets. Boy, the thing that you need to remember is you're getting an absolute bell cow back in one of the highest scoring games on the main slate with the Jets and the Arizona Cardinals. Now, admittedly, he hasn't done that much in the last couple of weeks in the air, but this is a guy who usually is heavily involved in the passing game, which is what we love to get on DraftKings and the full PPR. It was kind of funny, Michael. I was so excited to see Christian McCaffrey back at $8,000. He's only $400 cheaper, more expensive than Breece Hall, but we just don't know the role he is going to play in his first game back. So it's just cash, not GBP. I'd rather go with the guy I think that has the better floor in Breece Hall.
Yeah, no, and we don't have the extra dollars to spend, because if you go to the defensive position, you'll see we only have enough for one team. Actually, two, I'm sorry. One is the freaking Cowboys. I mean, they look just so bad right now. The Broncos have been number two in sacks. So, okay, and guess what? Patrick Mahomes, except for when he's getting helped by the flag, has been sacked a fair number of times. So Denver should be able to put up a few points for us. I'm a little bit surprised they're so cheap. I understand Kansas City's the only undefeated team left, but for $2,400 to get the Broncos, I'm pretty happy.
I love it. Uh, so that is our DraftKings lineup. Let's show it there. Headed by three star running backs, arguably three number one wide receivers on their team at low prices, a premier tight end, a solid quarterback, and even though they're not priced that way, a decent defense. Let's see what they do this week. Let's go to FanDuel. All right, we're here on FanDuel. We're in a little better shape than we were on DraftKings with over $6,000 to spend. But remember, the FanDuel prices are higher, so we still have to be economical, Michael.
Okay, well, let's do that because I think we can find a price on a guy who I've already previewed a little bit that I like him a lot because of the rapport that he has with his quarterback. It's rookie Lad McConkey at 6,300. Nice little price there for him. He's become the number one target for Herbert. Yeah, you might think that he has a tough matchup how they've treated wide receivers, but they are 31st against the pass. And he's been heating up as of late. Look what he did 2 weeks ago. He's starting to get that highest number of targets. And really, he's done pretty good on targets all year long. Really think that this matchup bodes well for Lad McConkey.
All righty, I like it. So I am going to head over to quarterback. And, we see some of the top-notch guys at 9,400 and 9,200. I'm going to go down, save $1,000 off those guys, and get Brock Purdy at $8,100. There's a bunch of things to like about Brock Purdy this week. First of all, he and his San Francisco teammates are coming off a bye. So they are going to be fresh. They're facing Tampa Bay, which is the 31st ranked defense against quarterbacks. And most importantly, we can go to this log. He is going to get Christian McCaffrey back, Michael. Look, you can say anything you want about Mason and how good he has been in his replacement, and he's been okay as a running back. But the one thing Mason didn't do is he didn't catch passes well. And that's what he gets when he gets McCaffrey back. The ability to drop off a 2-yard pass for McCaffrey and have him run 35 yards and him getting credit for the passing yards. And the threat, of course, of McCaffrey getting a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, which will give Purdy a passing touchdown. I really like this pick at $8,100.
Yeah, no, and look what he's just done. Like he's been really consistent. He's got a nice floor. Hey, let's face it, with what we've got going on right now, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, partly because of the challenges that we've had.
And just want to emphasize, he's done all that without McCaffrey, and now he gets McCaffrey.
Yep. So that and what you're going to do at the defensive position leaves us some money to spend at the flex spot. Can't quite get some of the guys that you talked about on DraftKings, but we can get DeAndre Swift, who matches really Jonathan Taylor and Aaron Jones in terms of being the pure bell cow back. He's averaging almost 19 touches a game, around 90 yards of total yards a game. He's getting involved in the passing game, 3+ catches per game. He really is the pure bell cow. And look at New England's defense. They're horrendous. They're number 29th against running backs. And so I think the Bears have to continue to lean heavily on the run game if they're going to have a chance at making the playoffs. And DeAndre Swift has been the key to that. So it's $7,700, given how he is used by this team, given how he should be used in this game. They're a heavy favorite. They should be playing from ahead. They're at home. Bodes really well for DeAndre Swift.
All right, so let's go to D. I think I left you with only two options. Look, you got me back. You're leaving me with just two options. And you know what? You really you can go with either one. I'm actually going to pick the Indianapolis Colts and have $200 to play with just in case something comes up later in the week to have a little bit more flexibility because I think I like the Colts just about as much as I like the Jacksonville Jaguars. So when you pick a defense, Michael, that is not only the cheapest defense on the entire slate, but $200 cheaper than any other defense, this is what you expect. You expect that they're going to be huge underdogs, that they will be on the road, and their defense has little ability. That's not the case here. Indianapolis is at home. They're only 4-point dogs. And look at this. Look, if you on a per game basis, they're 23rd in sacks, so they can put a little bit of pressure. Middle of the road in interceptions, and actually lead the league in fumble recoveries. I mean, I know Buffalo can have a good offense, but just remember they're ranked middle of the road. So, given their price, I'm happy to have the Colts in the lineup.
Yeah, no, and again, it just allows us to do so many other things. We continue to follow our theme that defenses can be really hard to predict. So let's not put our money there, unless, of course, there's a bargain that's unreasonably so. I like this lineup, really kind of continuing with this theme of bell cows and high target number ones with strong quarterbacks, which is what you want in a cash game lineup.
All right, everybody. Like Michael told you, we want to hear from you. So put in the comment section which are your favorite guys on the main slate for DraftKings or FanDuel. So that'll wrap us up for week 10. We will be back with you in week 11 as we break down the main slate. Until then, take care, everybody.
Bye. We'll put up two videos that we think you'll enjoy.